because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone. Coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs.
You done went and did it. You done went and did it. You done, hey, Nabj, I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud of yourselves. Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, like a lot of you, when I heard that Donald Trump was speaking at the Nabj convention, by the way, that is the National Association of Black Journalists, BJ as in black jobs, I wondered who was getting what. I immediately started checking Venmo to see all the publicly available information to see what money changed hands. I just knew there had to be some kind of greater plan at, What's that? Oh, the chairman is blocking people? Wow. So she's giving no explanation. She just blocking people for criticizing on social media. Wow. Oh, wow. That is something. Well, she lucky it's no video. She just got to do her hand. Oh, it's video? Is video available? Well, throw that thing on.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today.
And by a lot of people, I think she means all people, because she definitely means me and people of my thinking. I can't imagine the people in his own camp wanted him to go there. Certainly not given the pushback. MAGA certainly didn't want him to be there. They don't want him to waste any time trying to present himself to black people. That's why they fill up the church when he's supposed to be at a black church.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist.
Just look at Trump while they're reading his litany of racial offenses. He like, I don't even remember doing all that. I'm a wild boy. Oh, snap. Look at me go. Look at my racism go.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
That's how we gonna start? That's how we gonna start. Wow. Trump disrespecting black journalists. I mean, who could have seen that coming?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
On the campaign trail, you called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also saying that the president.
It's such a racist
There are
question.
some people.
The same thing with April Ryan. I watch her get up. I mean, you talk about somebody that's a loser. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Hispanic
Well, I would.
Caucus?
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours?
I'm just a reporter.
So he tweeted this late on Friday night. He said, LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike.
Well, then, by all means, we got to have him at NABJ.
I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and, you know, and I say this, historically, black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered
black
the question.
He just called y'all ends. I mean, really, he just called y'all a bunch. He just called y'all ends. I hope you're proud of yourself, NABJ. He just called y'all a bunch of ends. Now, one thing that I will note, because I have already addressed his lies about his support of HBCUs and about the opportunity zones with Tim Scott. I'll put the link to that video in the description. But he talked about how Kamala Harris was supposed to be there. Now, she put out her own thoughts and statements about why she was unable to be at NABJ, because they told her that she was unable to do Zoom. So there seems to be a little bit of miscommunication, but on this particular note, Trump and Kamala are actually aligned in the fact in which they rejected the idea of either one of them doing Zoom. So they actually are consistent in that regard. NABJ, not so much.
Trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir.
Forget how you feel. I'm going to tell you, because I know better about your circumstances and how good I have been for your people.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of that.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you would.
It is incredible that the man whose sycophants cannot stop saying DEI. I got a DoorDash delivery the other day had DEI on it. They can't stop saying DEI, but he himself needs a definition. Like he had a spelling bee. Let's be honest, he probably couldn't spell DEI. Can you use it in a sentence? You do it all the time.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much.
Yes, you have known her. In fact, you supported her.
And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
I just find it so fascinating when people come from outside and try and break down other people's blackness. So is it up for you? Like, how am I doing with my blackness? Or maybe should I ask Lil Pump? The level of condescension that it takes to challenge somebody's blackness as a non-black person is absolutely off the charts. Not to mention the fact that they also have their bots doing the bidding, pretending to be black people as well. So they have unleashed the bots, but they are willing to sit up here in front of the NABJ.
And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that
Well,
interview.
you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today.
Is that Harris Faulkner of Fox News? You mean this Harris Faulkner?
It's as though people on the left have more free time than anybody else. They want to acronym and pronoun us to death. Well, know this. The Lord has determined I am a woman, and my pronouns are USA.
David, I love you, brother, but when you say they're trying to get rid of fossil fuels, the facts that the carpet doesn't match the drapes, brother. I mean, we've had historic fossil fuel production.
I do it in the summer, and I put fresh strawberries in here, too.
Oh, what a good idea.
Right?
Make Kool-Aid?
That's another.
I'm going to try this.
Do I do what?
Make Kool-Aid.
No, I don't make Kool-Aid.
Hey, Harris, I think, check your phone. Yeah, you need to answer your phone. Roland Martin looking for you.
Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black.
That was good. That was good. Trump, I give you that one. That was good.
Coming from the border are millions and millions of people.
No, you're not gonna say it. No, don't you do it. Trump, don't you do it.
Coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
You done went and did it. You done went and did it. You done. Hey, NABJ, I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr.
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people.
Now, that's interesting. I mean, he wasn't pulling no punches with anything else. I don't know why he shied away from the black jobs thing, because if a black job is anybody that has a job, there wouldn't be a need to delineate black jobs. Now, would there? If it was just anybody that has a job, then he would just say they're coming and taking American jobs. But he specified black jobs. He also said Latino jobs, which are apparently jobs who anybody who crosses the border is able to get. So I hope the journalists at NABJ feel sufficiently threatened, because apparently anybody who just crossed the Rio is able to be a black journalist now. You know, Essence has really gone downhill. Yeah, they don't even publish in English no more.
Sadia Massey,
Someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something.
That tells you everything. That tells you everything. By the way, I just had a racist of the week talking about Candace Owens accusing the Biden campaign of trying to cozy up to black folks by bothering to acknowledge the Sonia Massey case. To which I said, well, if Mr. Black Man Donald Trump really wanted to cement himself, then obviously he's free to post about that, because he certainly posts about all manner of other nonsense. He certainly could post about Kamala. I mean, what's another black woman? Oh, I forgot. She's Indian. She's Indian. I forgot about that. He's certainly free to do that. The man doesn't even know anything about it. But I tell you what, let it have been an immigrant, he would know all about it. Actually, that's probably not fair. He would be willing to talk about it, but he wouldn't actually know, because he would have to pay attention to briefings to know things.
Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens.
Well, that's technically true. He might not, as long as we continue with the current implementation of immunity. But given your implementation of immunity, he certainly will.
And our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts. And this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it.
He has no idea what you just said. He has no idea. Also, I would love to point out the fact that he is blaming the poor equipment and the poor acoustics and the poor audio transmission at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. The man is not speaking at the Little League World Series. The man ain't at a rodeo. This is a convention of people in media, and he's talking trash about the equipment. I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud. He just called y'all the Chitlin Circuit. I mean, he just called y'all the Chitlin Circuit. I hope you're proud.
I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We cover you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to different topics.
I didn't notice you do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I have a hostile judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
No, excuse you. You're the one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
All right, so he has already blamed her for the equipment. He blamed her for holding him up. He blamed her for the initial question. I mean, the gall that it takes to sit up at a convention full of black people and disrespect a black woman to that degree, that is a man who is counting on 0% support from the black community. Like, we can now understand that at no point were any of these claims of black advancement in the polls legitimate, because apparently he fears absolutely nothing by his blatant disrespect for Rachel Scott, by the way, who is the woman next to him. He wouldn't dare mention her name.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know
is so
it is really hard for me to understand
it's just,
you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
really
understand.
Is it funny, Harris? Is it funny? Yeah, look at her disrespecting the black woman that I'm on the panel with, and also I'm on the panel because I'm a black woman. But I identify with him though. I like that. I like that. Now, I talk often about pick-me behavior, but rarely do you get to see it displayed to such a degree.
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your statement, sir, actually.
You said you would. You would
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Now, this actually bothered me quite a bit. I'm gonna be completely honest. You guys know I have jokes, but this bothered me. Look at her body language. Look at her body language right now. Because she is sitting up there being verbally assaulted by a presidential candidate, and nobody has the gall to check him or to protect her. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order.
Yeah.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones, at least 1 officer lost an eye, 1 had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs, another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to bring...
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to ask,
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just under...
And I have to give her credit for keeping this whole thing semi on the rails. It definitely went off the rails. We'll get to that. I'm just going to let the train run all the way off the track into the bushes and land in a ravine where it belongs. But credit to her for keeping her professionalism, because Lord knows if she would have wilded out, that would have been the kind of thing that gets rewarded in today's society. It's all about the viral moment, right? It's all about the viral moment. She had an opportunity to have one, and she would have been justified, and she didn't do it. She was the most professional person in that room.
Pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system.
And I can't imagine what Right Side Broadcasting is saying about this one. What will be their level and degree of deflection here for something that they carried live showing Trump black support crater?
Well, that was quite interesting. As you all know, this is Matthew Alvarez with Bobby McNeely here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Of course, President Trump somewhat going into the lion's den there.
Why is it the lion's den? Why is it the lion's? Because y'all told me that black people love Trump, right? Y'all told me that wasn't real. That wasn't real.
Of course, Harris Faulkner being respectful to the president, that first journalist to President Trump's left, not so much. Unexpected in some ways. We thought this would be more of a roundtable discussion, and instead there was some hostile words or questions and statements, and you can tell there is extreme bias there by that one journalist.
Ooh, disrespectful, hostile questions, bias. That is what they call conducting an actual interview. An actual interview is biased, and you're hostile if you actually challenge him on the claims that he makes. So he is entirely incapable of being interviewed by somebody who's outside of the MAGA echo chamber. I can't imagine how juvenile he must feel to know you think that about him. That is wild.
Sandra, some interesting questions, an interesting dynamic there as well, not only with the questioners, but the crowd.
Yeah, really interesting.
There's that word interesting again. There's that word interesting. Now, I just want to ask you, if you had a song, or you had a piece of art, or you wrote a book, an article, and you sent it to a friend of yours, and you asked them, what do you think, huh? I need your honest opinion. And they came back with, it was interesting. You know it was trash. We know what interesting means. We all know what interesting means.
Sandra, some interesting questions, an interesting dynamic there as well, not only with the questioners, but the crowd.
Yeah, really interesting. I'm sure a lot of people stopped to watch that. Our own Harris Faulkner on the stage there getting some questions into the former president as well. And it appears, John, the White House is already responding to an exchange that happened there on that stage. The White House saying that the comments that the former president made on Kamala Harris's racial identity are insulting, is what we have just gotten in from the White House as the briefing was ongoing with Karine Jean-Pierre just a short time ago.
It was insulting. In fact, the entire thing was insulting to the point that, now here's me, I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat right now. I have to wonder, okay, Nabj brought in Donald Trump to speak at their convention. Apparently, according to him, now granted, he has the credibility of a QAnon thread or an Encyclopedia Britannica from 1704, he claims that he was told that Kamala Harris was going to be there. Now, if they both would have been there, that certainly would have been something that would have been fascinating to watch and fascinating to see. Apparently, according to Kamala's side, they told her she couldn't do it via Zoom and she was unable to be there in person. So they decided to bring Donald Trump in there himself. Now, in watching how everything played out, there were a lot of really embarrassing moments for Nabj. The fact that he was constantly insulting the equipment, the fact that he was insulting how everything's put together, he insulted it being late, and last but not least, the absolute disrespectful way in which he dealt with Rachel Scott. However, the walkaway is disastrous for Donald Trump to a point that, did they set him up? I don't want to give NABJ too much credit, being as how they out here blocking folks on social media, but y'all set him up. Cause if y'all did, sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.